Hey everybody, Phil Sma here, and today what I'm going to be doing is a kind of a follow-up to one of my most popular videos on here, which is the Ruby on Rails 7 ChatGPT integration, where I kind of created a ChatGPT knockoff. That's all well and good, and ChatGPT is awesome, obviously, but it would be cool to be able to run that locally. And by that, I mean having a LLM, large language model, running locally on your machine. And that's what we're going to be doing today. And we're going to be replacing the connection with ChatGPT with the connection to that local LLM. And we're going to be doing that using something called Ollama. Now, Ollama is this very cool piece of software that lets you run LLMs on your local machine, even if you don't have a GPU like I'm on my Intel MacBook Pro. Even on that, I can run a pretty nice LLM. I'm going to be using something called Mistral, I think, today. But so we're going to switch everything over to be using that, and I'll be talking a little bit about setting up Ollama. We're going to do a custom model even. I'll be doing some other Ollama videos in the future, near future, where I'm going to be looking at a tool like that from a Ruby on Rails developer's perspective. But enough about that. Let's get into the good stuff and talk about doing this thing. So, yeah, we're going to be building on this Rails and ChatGPT. So we're going to be using Ollama. Now, you could go to ollama.com and download a native installer if you're running on Mac OS, Linux, or Windows. In other words, if you're one of the 75 or 85% of the people in the world who use a computer. And so you can have a native installer, but of course, I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to do is run it inside of Docker. So I don't have to worry about installing anything. I don't have to worry about buggering up my machine or whatever like that. Just run the thing inside of Docker. I've kind of gotten into Docker a little bit recently. So the way we're going to do that is, let's go over here to my Ollama directory. And it should just be pretty simple. We're just going to do a docker run command, and we'll tell it to run using this thing here. And we're going to put it on the standard Ollama port, which is 11434. And we'll give it a name of Ollama. And we're going to use the Ollama image, standard Docker image, to run this thing. And that should go off and download it. I guess I already had it downloaded already. If we go over and we look at Docker, we've now got Ollama running. There it is, this one here. Ignore that there. So we've got this running here, and that means we can telnet to localhost 11434, and something's there. It's not going to work like this, but that's fine. How would it work? So you can, run Ollama directly, and just like this. If you have a model installed, which we might have a model, I'm going to sneeze in a second. We're going to have a model installed here, so we're going to Ollama run Mistral. And is that wrong? No. Docker exec. There we go. And if you don't have the Mistral model installed already, it would download it. I do have it installed already, so we can say hi, and it'll come back and say, hello, how can I help you today? Blah, 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 blah. So that was it. That's all it takes to be running this thing. It's entirely local. I could, turn off my internet and this thing would still work. So we don't have to worry about our data getting out there, being shared, being used by somebody, whenever, whatever. And Ollama has a lot of models that are supported, like Mistral, Llama 2, Code Llama, everything like that. You can install all of those. As I said, I don't want to get too much into Ollama because we'll talk about it a bit more lately. But one thing I think that is pretty cool is the simplicity of creating your own model. And what I'm going to do is show you quickly how to do that. And then we're going to get onto the Rails stuff. I'm sorry, I have so much fun with this llama thing. So let's create an LLM that talks like a pirate. So I'm just going to quickly make a thing here, and we're going to VI, because I'm a VI kind of guy, file called Pirate Talk. And we'll say it's a model based on Mistral. And let's give it a temperature. This is, Ollama have some instructions like this on their website, but I'm making my own thing. Now, if you remember from the ChatGPT one, the first command that you send to LLM in a conversation is a system command, and that kind of sets everything up. So if we send a system command and say like this, so this is how it's going to configure. Now, I'm being very silly here. You are Pegleg the pirate. All answers should be given in Pirate Talk. How's that? 1, 2, 3, and we're done. That's our model file. Is it there? Yes. If we cat it, it's there. So how do we use this thing? So let's do a Docker. We're going to move this file into our Docker container first. So we're going to copy Pirate Talk to the Ollama image, and we'll call it Pirate. Why did I call it Private Talk? Let's fix that. Private Talk to Pirate Talk. Or Pirate Model even has that. And now, okay, Docker CP Pirate Model to Ollama Pirate Model. And then we can run it. Docker exec, that's IT, the Ollama image, and we're going to run the command called Ollama create, and we're going to call it Pirate Talk, not Private Talk, Pirate Talk. And we'll use the file of, pirate model. So that will take our pirate model and it's going to create a new model. We'll take our text file that defines a model and it will create a new model called Pirate Talk. And honestly, that's it. So if we do a Docker, oh my goodness, you know why I do mostly copy and paste now. Minus IT, Ollama list. And we can see now that Pirate Talk is there as a model that we could use. So we could say Docker exec run Pirate Talk. And that's it. So I can say, what is the capital Canada? This should be interesting. And it comes back and says, matey, that be a fine riddle you've got there. And it goes on in another pirate language that I'm not going to and say, but I'll tell you this, the great white north, where the maple leaf flies high, its heart beats in Ottawa, a bursting city full of life. So there you have it, Ottawa be the capital of Canada, R. If that's not a good use of a large language model, I don't know what is. Is it quit or is it exit? Exit. So there's our little intro into Ollama. It's running now inside Docker. We can see it's green, so we're running. And let's now talk about Rails, shall we? So let's git branch Ollama. Grit. What am I doing? Checkout minus B Ollama. So we are now on a new branch called Ollama, and we want to get rid of all the OpenAI stuff. You see here I'm calling OpenAI response job Again, if you need to figure out how to talk to ChatGPT, you can do that in that other video. So OpenAI, first we have a configure initializer here. We don't need that anymore. Goodbye. And we can, let's look at the .env file. And we've got our OpenAI access token. Bam, we don't need that anymore. We will put something else in here. So I was doing this by using a Sidekick background job. So OpenAI response job. So let's create a new job. So Rails G, not stimulus, job. And we're going to call this one Ollama response. Here we go, Ollama response job, and there it is there. Really hate that VS Code decides to, open things like that. Anyway, enough about that. So we're going to make it exactly the same. First of all, so a place with that. We can close that now. And let's delete OpenAI response job. We don't need it. And instead of calling OpenAI, we're going to call Ollama. Ollama. But how do we talk to Ollama, you say? Well, this is Ruby on Rails. We have a gem. So, Ollama, they have a a REST API that you could call using something like curl. So we could just call it directly like that. But, this is Rails. Let's use a gem file. So first of all, we can get rid of the OpenAI gem file. And now let's just install Ollama AI. And I think that's all we need. And we'll just bundle that. It's probably already there. Ollama AI 1.2.0. So what do we do? How do we call it? We can go to the gem, Ollama gem, which would be here. And he'll give us some basic instructions. So we don't need to require. What we want to do is create a client. So that connects to the Ollama instance. As you can see, that's using localhost 1134. It's not great to do it like this. So let's go to our .env file. And here's where we're going to call an Ollama API URL 11434. And we'll use that there. ENP Ollama. I don't know why it's formatting right for me today. So we've got a client. So how do we talk to it? If you want, well, should we take a quick look in the console? Let's take a quick look in the console. So here's the client. And then what we could do is generate. We're going to just do that just to show you. Here. And we don't have Llama 2. We have Mistral. No, we have Pirate Talk. And this will go off, connect to our, we know it's connecting already because we've got 404, and that was because of the model. So we know it's connecting. And there we got a result, gives you all the embeddings and all that crap. So, Almighty, how be thine day? Me be pegged like the pirate at your service. What's on your mind to be discussing? So there, we're talking pirate talk with our model in the back end. So we know that that's all working. So what we want to do then is just send it out. And we're going to be doing, instead of doing it, we're going to do a chat. And in chat is for a back and forth. So, and we'll have a model. Should we use Pirate Talk? What the hell? I'm double down on Pirate Talk here. Pirate Talk, and we'll do messages. I shouldn't have deleted. I wonder if I can restore it. Let's restore. Put you back in there. Just show you how I was doing it with OpenAI. I was a bit overzealous there. So what we were doing is, if you remember correct from the previous example, when we talk, we have something called messages, and those are the things that go back and forth. And we're saving those on a chat. So you have a chat with a message and a message and a message. And if there is no message already, we're going to create one. Well, whenever we call, we will create a message, and then we'll put the response into that message. And so the way you do a conversation with an LLM is that you just send everything you talked about before down the line to the LLM. And so what we do is, when we send out a new message to the LLM, we gather all the messages in the chat and we put them into a map with a role, because it could be our message to them or it could be their response back to us and the content, and we send all that down. And we're not going to set up any temperature tokens or anything like that right now. So it's the same kind of thing. You can see chat and the parameters. I don't think that's by accident that things are like that. So first, what we need to do is grab this, and everything is very, very similar to the way it was being done with OpenAI. So we grab those things, and the one difference is the way that Ollama streams back, or the way the gem streams back. With OpenAI's Ruby gem, you pass in a proc actually, and it'll call that over and over again with the message that's being sent. We don't really do that like that in the Ollama gem. What we do instead is it goes through a loop, and it will repeatedly call that loop as it's processing. And I'm going to copy and paste this, because you guys are going to die if you have to watch me type it in. So we don't need this up here. We're not going to create an empty message there. What we're going to do is either create a message, or, because it's going round and round, what we'll do is the last role is assistant. In other words, if the message is coming from Ollama, we will just use that last one and stuff everything into that. So that's because here is supposed to end there, not there. So it's looping through the events. So it will grab the last message or create a new one if we haven't, and then we'll use the same stream proc and pass in a message, and which is we just got, and the event. And the event is that data coming from Ollama. So we're going to do stream proc with an event, and new context is getting from the event. It'll have a message we see when something comes back, whereas when he's streaming, we'll get a bunch of these. So it'll have a response, a message. Sorry, where is it? That's not right. It'll have an array of things like this that have a response in it. So that's what we need to do. Response, no, content. And that's it. We're going to update the content to now be the original content plus the new content if there is content. And that should do exactly that. I've got one too many ends, I guess. There we go. So that should work. We go off, we create the client, we get the credentials, we call the client with a chat, we pass in the old messages, we loop through the new stuff that comes back, and we take the text and put it into the message content. So apart from changing the messages controller to, instead of calling OpenAI, we're going to call the Ollama response job, everything else should stay the same. That would be amazingly cool if it worked. I have my doubts, but let's run it and see. Proc file. It's going to go off, starting my sidekick. And is it working? Looks like it. Localhost 3000. Okay. Docker compose down. It's almost like it's a up minus D. Let's just see what's going on there. Message.last. Not fine. Rails OpenAI develop. Phil. Okay. Rails DB prepare. I guess not. I guess somehow I deleted my database. Is it running? Yes. Here we are. Let's sign up. Test.com. Okay. New chat. Send a message. What's the capital of Canada? What do we got? Let's take a look. I'm just going to clear this out. And we're in it. And it seems like it's going off. You see it's running, performing Ollama response job. Probably, oh my goodness. And here it is, the capital of Canada is Ottawa. It's located in the province of Ontario on the south bank of Ottawa River. Now you're saying, but Phil, that's not talking pirate. And I realize why it's not here. But we'll let it run. Anyway, the reason it's not is that I'm setting a system. See, if I don't have any chat messages, I'm setting the system, which means that the system in the model file won't be ignored. That's very interesting. For now, I'm just going to do that, user. That means it won't have a system file, and I'm going to create a new chat. And what's the capital of Canada? Huh. Fascinating. That's an interesting difference between OpenAI. And the one thing that we could add here, if we wanted to add more stuff to our UI, is we can now choose models on the fly. And that's something that's also very cool about Ollama, is that I can run one chat using one model, another chat using another model. You can have multiple models happening at the same time, really, with Ollama. It's much more of a multi-model environment. But I think, there we go, I wanted to make a change while I'm here, to change the form, because I don't really like the form. Where is it? Index. Where is the form? There's two forms. Message.new. Just want to make the form a little bit better. There it is. Chat HTML. So we're going to replace this one. And replace that one. I wanted to create a multi-line. There we go. So now we can do multi-line. But anyway, enough of that for now. There we are, talking to Ollama. You might not appreciate how big a deal this is. I am now running an LLM on my local machine. That, to me, is pretty cool. It's very secure. It lets us run a complete development environment now. First of all, costing nothing. You know, we don't have to pay ChatGPT. Excuse me. So it doesn't cost anything. It's secure. It lets us bundle up an LLM. It lets us choose our LLMs. Now, you're going to say, it's not as good as ChatGPT. If you have a beefier machine, you can use some pretty incredible models, like Smog and everything like that. So let's not dwell on the model quality right now. Let's look at the possibilities and potential here. I hope you're interested in this. I'm going to dig a little bit more into Ollama and LLMs and true AI from a Ruby on Rails developer perspective. That's all going to be coming up. Talk to you soon. Hit the like, subscribe, bell notification. Let's get some people watching these videos. Bye for now.